The heist was well planned. But, when push came to shove, things did not go as planned. As they loaded the money bags in the getaway car, the robbers knew that time was not on their side. And indeed, time was not. Because, it was not long before the police showed up, and it was mayhem from then. This was different, with nothing similar to all their previous cash-in-transit heists. It was a normal morning, in Boksburg, with cars driving along the famous Atlas Road. Everything seemed normal. It was only the gang that knew what was to happen. It had taken them months of planning, putting all the pieces they needed together. They were aware of the CIT van's movements, the number of security guards, and the number and type of firearms they had. They knew that after collecting a huge sum of cash at a cash depot, the vans were going to take the money to a certain bank. Just like all the previous heists, the gang had done its research thoroughly. And even with all this information, hours before the robbery, they still sent one member to survey the intersection, so as to alert the gang should there be anything that seemed off. In addition to the surveyor, the gang had also sent a car to follow the CIT vans, and inform the gang on the vans' movements. So, when the gang got a go-ahead from the surveyors, there was no retreat, it was do or die. With information from the surveyor that followed the two CIT vans, the gang knew when the vans were going to pass the Atlas intersection. So, they only started driving towards the intersection when the two vans were approaching the intersection. As soon as the vans stopped by the traffic lights, the gang immediately came out, with some firing shots, while some pointed at the security guards. It all happened fast, and the security immediately started firing back. Cars that were close to the scene sped off, while hawkers and peddlers ran for their lives. In a flash, 10 men had boarded the two CIT vans. The gang outnumbered the security, and when the guards realized this, they ran away. Sadly, one of the security guards was shot and injured on the leg, as he was running for his life. With the guards gone, the gang's explosive expert then did his magic on the doors to the van's safe, and a few seconds later, they were two big blasts. The vans bumped several times following the blast, and the blast forcefully opened the door and deformed both vans. With no time wasted, the robbers began to load the bags of money into the getaway cars. As they loaded the money bags, the robbers knew that time was not on their side. And indeed, time was not. It was not long before the police showed up. As soon as they heard the police sirens, the robbers ran into the getaway cars and sped off. It was mayhem from then, with the police chasing the gang. The police were then joined by security firms and metro police, and together they chased the robbers. They chased them until at George Gok, where the gang members ran into the hostels to hide. The police did not hesitate to follow, and they searched the hostels and managed to get 5 of the robbers. Even with some evading, it was a win for the police, because they had managed to arrest the mastermind. Just that they did not know it at the time. What they saw during the investigation that followed left them with disbelief. This was bigger than they thought. Investigations followed, soon after the arrests, as the police looked for the ones that had escaped. The authorities had to get to the bottom of this. From interrogating the suspects, the police learnt that the mastermind behind the heist was none other than Tarto. The police had to get all the gang members, and tracking them was not easy. They looked for previous cash heists that were similar in nature to the Boksburg one, and identified many of them. Using technology and intelligence, the team started to draw links between suspects until they got the gang's key members. They soon realized that Tarto worked with one of the biggest heists kingpin in the country, Bibi. Bibi was the main man, and was directly linked to over 20 heists in the country. They had to get Bibi, and a special team dedicated to catching Bibi was formed, and given a small room in Joburg CBD to work in. The Hawks boss at the time even said that, "We catch Bibi, we end it all." He is the key to heists in the region. Catching BB will end everything. Working in the small room, the special team gathered cell phone records, bank statements, title deeds, and data on firearms. The team realized that the gang was much bigger and smarter than they imagined. The gang was next generation. The masterminds only met days before the heists, and then vanished immediately after the attacks. The three masterminds were BB, Tarto, and Paul. They were very good when it came to hiding tracks. The masterminds used more than 50 different phones. When the team received a tip on the locations of the gang's 8 safe houses, from Sasha to Soweto, this was the break they had been waiting for. Raids were then planned by the team, and they knew that to get most of the gang, all raids had to be done at the same time. So, after strategizing, the teams left for the mission, ranging from Sasha to Soweto. The raids went well. 23 suspects were arrested in total, and the police also got explosives, guns, stolen cars, and ammunition. They also arrested a female Metro police official. Upon interrogating them, the team was surprised when they realized that the gang used the Metro police official to carry guns from heists. As a Metro official, no one would think of searching her car. The gang had everything planned. During the raids, a team also went to one of Bibi's houses, in Tembiza, but did not manage to catch him, since he had already left when they got to there. With his gang arrested and safe houses raided, Bibi went on a run. Although Bibi had vanished, the special team did not give up. Time passed, with no break on the search. They were all left with disbelief when they received news from Bloemfontein, months after the raids. On the phone, the Free State Police told the team that they had arrested BB. BB had made a silly mistake. While in Free State, he was driving a stolen car. And as the police patrolled the streets, they spotted it and suspected that it was reported as stolen. So, they stopped the car, and while talking to the driver, they then realized that it was BB. They arrested him on the spot. The heist was well planned. But, when push came to shove, things did not go as planned. As they loaded the money bags, the robbers knew that time was not on their side. And indeed, time was not. Because, it was not long before the police showed up. Not long before 5 of the robbers were getting arrested. This led the police to Bibi, and after tracking him for months with no luck, it was his silly mistake that eventually ended him. For a man who handled all his heists with meticulous planning, driving a stolen car while on the run was not his smartest moment. The police didn't mind. A win is a win, no matter how it comes. From Classified, thank you.